Wall Street thinks U.S. homes are overpriced. Now, I found this from Realtor.com, and there's a reason I specifically picked this article today because it describes the chasm of approach like you're describing here, which is investors and developers are going to look at it with one perspective, and the homeowner and the family is going to look at it with another.
Yep.
Now, the claim here is that these groups, I'm not going to name them, but these groups are saying that prices are 20 to 35% over where they are actually valued at. Now, this is, again, nationwide. I know we often talk about the pockets of San Diego, coastal communities, the top 100 metros. There's some outliers where there's just prices held for a lot of other reasons beyond just people to move there. Like we talk about San Diego all the time. Like people who are active duty military, they have a commensurate compensation every month for the housing cost of San Diego. So they can afford on paper still do this. So again, separate that for a second.
Yeah.
The argument here is that these properties in general could take a 20 to 35% discount before it actually hits investors' appetite for what they think values are at. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that homes are 20 to 35% overvalued right now?
Well, I mean, you look from 2020 to now, the prices, how much they've gone up. Before that, they were literally 20, 30% lower. So I think for them at that moment, it made more sense than now when they're just completely high.
Yeah. Well, but they would have wanted a haircut back then too.
Yeah.
So part of it is my assumption. Let me use can I use a truck analogy? There's trucks that I'm like looking for the ranch that are like $100,000. But to me, I go, that's a $70,000 truck. I'm not gonna pay $100,000 for that truck. I'll pay 70, right? So I understand the mentality. But when it was 70, I'm like, that's not a $70,000 truck. That thing's worth 55. I'd pay 55 for it. So I think some of that kind of is just the behavior pattern itself of, hey, look, I need to get a haircut on this before I think it's worth my time to do chasing it.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think homes are overpriced. I think
but how
everything's
much do you
overpriced.
think?
I'm going to agree with that. I mean, they have the data. They've done the research. And I get it. It's supply and demand. It's simple economics, you know. When the Tesla truck was coming out, it wasn't worth $140,000, but people were paying that, right? Because there was not a lot of supply of those trucks. That truck was worth like $50,000, $60,000. Now that there's not such a demand, guess what? People are paying $70,000, $80,000 now. And that's just what it is. That's what we're in right now. You're talking about earlier, we're talking about the rent in LA. Well, there's not a lot of homes for rent. So why are people charging double? Because there's not enough supply. I think this is what we've been facing since 2000. We were already in a deficit of 2.5 million homes. And we continue to have them. Right now, we're like at a 6 to 8 million home deficit.
More units needed.
Yeah, more units needed. So anytime it's just simple economics. It's supply and demand. When you don't have enough supply, you're going to overpay for, well, the people that have it will always overpay because, hey, FOMO. FOMO.
A perfect example is like you go around San Diego, you see $1 million house and you say, is that really $1 million house? Like, it's that simple. Like, anybody could say, like, that is not $1 million house.
Yeah, especially when you're talking in 2008, like, for instance, I'm building the ADUs. I already got an appraisal that came in at 1.6. Do I really think it's 1.6? No, right?
Wow, 1.6.
Because at 3, for that square footage, which is right under 100 square feet, under 3,000, I mean, back in the day, I remember 2012, that was already selling for like 650, 800. Like, is it really? No, but that's where we're at right now because of the density and everything. It's just going to get, so I think 30, 35,
Sorry, I'm reacting that way because I didn't know the number came in at 1.6.
Yeah, 1.6, yeah.
Oh, my God, really? That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, congratulations.
No, thank you. I mean, but who knows? Maybe it'll be lesser later because it is overinflated right now. And as they start building more homes, and there is more homes available, remember, right now, I checked this week, there's over 129,000 homes nationwide available. Mm-hmm. Our norm is 1 million to 1,100,000.
Yeah.
And so we remember in 2022, when we had the fewest homes available, that's where just prices of homes were skyrocketing.
Well, and so this is why I was interested in asking you this question, because I understand your position that you're like, hey, I do think homes are overinflated.
Yeah.
But do you think it's actually going to become sold for less at that. Do you think they're going to be sold for that rate too? Because I don't think they're going to be sold for that rate.
No,
I can agree. Yeah, I think homes are overinflated. I also don't think they're going to get sold for 30% off.
They're not. And you wouldn't have BlackRock and your Vanguards in there and getting into real estate, right? I just looked at my portfolio and I'm actually one of the investors on there. And and so how is it?
Part,
It's
part of the problem?
There you go.
Or part of the solution?
I'm part of it. Yeah, If it was one of those, if you
when
can't
were you
beat
going to
them,
tell us, huh?
If you can't beat
When were
them,
you going to tell us?
join them, right? So, and then Andy, we're going to see even more appreciation now with these fires over how many homes are lost now?
Yeah, it was okay.
Over
So when
12,000
when it first happened, it was like
dwellings,
1,000
structures.
dwellings, and now it's over 12,000.
So, that's what I was going to
So
say.
let's think
that's
about
nuts.
that. Let's think about that. Where are they going to go?
I mean, but imagine
San
if,
Diego.
well, yeah, San Diego. But imagine if like all of our surrounding area right here, it's like 12,000 houses just like vanish. Right now, let me put that into perspective for people who don't.
Tijuana.
Let me put that into perspective for people who don't live here. The area of Eastlake and Otay Ranch in the early 2000s added 50,000 homes.
Wow.
A quarter of those would be missing right now. That's nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Hopefully, like the
Now, there's a lot more property density in LA than there is in our little pocket of San Diego. However, I was thinking about that. I was driving in this morning, and I'm driving past all these houses. I was on Telegraph, and I'm like, there's houses on this side and neighborhoods on this side. I'm like, all of these are gone up in LA. Like it's just demolished. There's nothing there.
How do you take all these 12,000 people and automatically put them into the rental market and say, "Hey, where the houses at?" It's like
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what starts happening, Brian, what's going to start happening, people are going to start rethinking if being around there is going to be the best bet.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Especially if they can there's a lot of them didn't have insurance. They're going to probably think and say, I need to move somewhere. Well, where am I going to move?
Yeah.
San Diego. I like the weather. It's still pretty
comparable here, close
to where I'm
enough,
at.
yeah.
Or they're going to leave wherever it's available. So wherever they're leaving, that's where the price of the homes are going to start going up. So will it come back down? I don't know. It can, and it
Probably
can
dip before it
certainly.
goes right back up.
But it's like when and how? Who knows?
Well, I would say that this is making a Wall Street argument, but I say that they are probably on the buyer side. They would love to pick up places at 20 to 35% off. On the holding side, they're super happy with values right now.
Listen, I have right now. I just listened on the social media. It's Open Door buying houses again.
Oh,
Wait, really?
Yeah,
Open Door's back, huh?
And remember, Zillow.
Open Door was like,
You guys remember Zillow tried to get into the pretty much like the fix and flip, buying properties and just kind of, and they lost a lot. Right, they kind of put this information to kind of discourage people, like, oh, this is what's happening, but bro, we already know.
Yeah, that whole plan
big
backfired on
investors.
them.
Exactly.
Their plan backfired on them.